Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Foreigner Abroad. Had a bit of a break. Busy schedule being a YouTube. No, just real life things have been pretty full, pretty hectic. So I haven't recorded one for a while. So welcome back. Today's episode should be quite an interesting one, and I actually have no idea where we're going to end up because it's my friend Amanda. She's another American. I met her in Ecuador, but she used to live in China. So we're going to start talking about China, but where we might finish is the fact she's married to a Native American Indian Ecuadorian, as am I. I'm also married to a Native American Indian, but her husband is a little bit more traditional. Plus, also, obviously, it's different being married to a Native American Indian man and Native American Indian woman. Interestingly, this isn't where I know her from, but her husband is from originally the same village as my wife. They never met there. But they are from the same small village, which is crazy. Small world. So anyway, we're going to speak to her today. I've had a few, not complaints, but a few comments. So I mentioned last week, my mum said, I want to see your face, get a bit more light on it. And so supposedly last week I did. And then my sister said, yeah, you said that. And then it was the darkest one yet. And then I had another friend of mine, Miss B, who's got her own podcast, which you should watch as well. She said she likes how I don't bother with the lighting, which is true. But it did make me think, maybe I should bother with the lighting. So the plan today was to put my phone flash on me, which is why I'm so bright, but I'm going to turn that off for two reasons. Number one, it's blinding me. Unless you want me to sit here just constantly doing that, I'm going to go blind by the end of this just with these lights in my eyes, like being at the opticians. Number one. And number two, because I've got little red rosy cheeks. And I had a beer tonight. I had a private English class, and a guy came round and we were speaking and shared a beer. And to me, it's made me little rosy cheeks. So I want to not have rosy cheeks. So I'm going to turn that off. So I'm in the dark again. But anyone interested, that's how I look. So let's let Amanda in. Just as my phone starts going crazy. It's fine. And there she is. Amanda,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. I didn't turn my phone onto silent and I just started recording, and then all of a sudden I get about 10 messages coming in.
Oh,
I chucked that over that. Yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you for, when was the last time you were here? 2 years?
almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. How?
Yes. Lovely COVID stopped that.
Absolutely. Yes. When do you have plans to come back? So obviously COVID is.
We're coming back in probably July.
Nice. Okay. Good weather.
Mm-hmm.
Messaging me. Okay. Fantastic. But Javier's here at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We were planning on going at Christmas, and because Javier got accepted to be a citizen, we had to wait for his passport and stuff. So, and with COVID, that takes a lot longer.
Yes, I imagine it's not a quick process anyway, but that multiplied by COVID, I'm surprised you won relatively.
Well, we were able to get the expedited passport, and that took 4 weeks. Normally it takes 1 to 2.
Yeah, okay. Well, that could have been worse.
It could have been worse, yes. But you had to pay a lot more.
Yes, well, yeah. So this is going to be quite an interesting episode, this. So I was just saying in your introduction, I don't know if we're going to end up focusing on China or focusing being married to a Native American Indian. Let's see where it takes us.
Okay.
Okay, so you went to China.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first summer abroad, wasn't it, going to China?
No.
I should do more research on my
France too.
You were at France?
I've lived in Spain and France as well.
Oh, and England. Didn't you say you spent a bit of time?
No, I just visited England.
Oh, okay. That's long enough. Okay. Oh, so Spain and France and China, Ecuador, and America.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go with China.
Yeah.
Go with China. So how come you ended up in China? What happened there?
Honestly, well, it kind of started from I went and studied abroad in Spain and France, and I came home and I was really depressed. I
Mhm.
really didn't want to be in the middle of Midwest Minnesota, in the middle of nowhere. Um, as much as I loved it the year before that, I just needed to have my traveling in
Yeah.
me after I went and traveled Europe for a whole year. So I ended up getting kicked out of college for having too many credits.
Oh,
They
brilliant.
wouldn't let me finish.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
they wouldn't let me finish my third major. So, so they said you have to graduate. I'm like, oh, bummer. Okay, so now what am I going to do? So I ended up just looking. I was like, well, what am I going to do? I was looking at some jobs in Minnesota, and then I was like, well, I could go and teach abroad. So I would start applying for jobs in China, and they were all pretty scary. I'm going to be honest. I was quite nervous after I would get on the phone and talk with somebody, and they'd be like, yes, you come today, tomorrow, when you come next week. And I'm like, whoa, lady, I like, hold on. Like they were just like throwing me the job, and I could barely understand the conversation. And I was like, well, I need to feel confident in my job. So then I finally got an interview, and a Canadian man came on the phone, and I was like, oh,
There we go.
yes, English. And so I loved that the school was based off of Western morals. We had a Canadian president, whatever it's called. So I was all gung for her for that. And so that's kind of where that ended up going.
Okay, fantastic. So I had a kind of similar experience. I had my first interview I had on the phone, and it was someone who, like, within 5 minutes was offering me the job and saying, "When can you come?" I was like, I'm a bit worried how keen you are.
Like you don't seem like you need, like it seems like you need lots of teachers.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of two things. Either I'm the best candidate you've ever seen and you're desperate to have me, or you just want anybody. So yeah, I went for the Ecuador. So whereabouts in China did you go?
I lived in Fuzhou.
I'm going to share my screen and let's have a look at Fuzhou. You might have to help me spell it.
Fuzhou.
I would have not got anywhere near that if I was
No.
uh,
The ZH in Chinese is J.
yeah, I knew that. I think it's the same in Korean as well. Did Frost say that? I don't know. I feel like I had heard that before. Okay, first of all, let's have a look in the map to see where we are, because China, fairly big country, turns out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I went to a small city of only 7 million people.
Only 7 million, almost as big as London.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's West Coast.
Yes, it's right across the bay from Taipei.
Did you go to Taiwan as well?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to go to Taiwan. China has some incredible places. I used to teach Chinese people, and it was absolutely beautiful parts of it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I would love to go back and explore more.
Why China? What was the thinking behind China?
It was easy to get a job.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know. I really don't know. I have no real answer for that. I had applied to a couple things in Korea as well. I even like tempted the idea of Southeast Asia, but I don't think I didn't get I don't remember what was going on with Korea, why I didn't end up going there. But Southeast Asia didn't pay enough. And so that was China, and it was a pretty decent salary for like not having a teaching degree and stuff. And I lived really nicely in China.
Yeah, I was tempted by going east. So when I became a teacher, one of my friends, Ben, who was episode 1, we both trained together, and then he went east. He went to Korea in the end, and I went west. I went to Ecuador. And I feel like I made the right decision, but there was a big difference in our bank balances after a year.
Yeah.
It was,
I noticed that after my year of teaching in Ecuador.
yeah. So why can't I make any money? And I used to speak to Ben on Skype sometimes before Zoom existed, I think. And he'd show me his place, and it was this luxury apartment with all white walls and big screen TVs. And I'd show him my prison, basically, is what it was. I wouldn't have known you when I lived there, but it was this horrible little dingy room that didn't have a window. I thought, I chose the wrong choice. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh, it looks nice though.
Yeah, I think it's the Min River.
Min River. You could say anything. I won't know.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I definitely believe you. It looks. So you say a small city, but that still looks pretty massive to me.
It's pretty massive.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that place was beautiful.
That. I have antivirus that my work have put on my computer, and I swear it's just.
Look at I love this McDonald's. This McDonald's over there in the corner. That's the one I went to at 3 a.m.
Can I just say, we will talk about that, but that's hilarious. I've got this beautiful, touristic, lovely waterfall on McDonald's. That's what this podcast is about, real life living in. Okay, let's talk about this McDonald's. That does look probably like the nicest McDonald's in
right. It was a good 3 a.m. McDonald's.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, Chinese McDonald's different to American McDonald's?
Yes. Rice, lots of rice.
Really?
Yes. No fries, rice.
Really? No fries, no chips or fries, as you say.
I don't think there was fries. Maybe there was fries, but you could choose like fries or rice. Maybe there was lots of rice.
That's crazy. I never even thought of that. It must be. And what about the burgers? Were they Chinese style?
I don't eat burgers in general, so I never tried them.
I'm interested now. I wonder how.
But this is in a very historic area of the city, and that whole area is called Sanqingshan, and it's 7 lanes and 7 alleys, I think it was called in English, and it was just gorgeous.
Fantastic. And it had a McDonald's in, so it had the best of both worlds.
Yes.
And it's got a McDonald's. Okay, so according to Google,
the pineapple pies, those were good.
Pineapple pie, that does look nice. I want to go to China now just for the McDonald's. Taro pie. What's taro pie?
Papachina.
How do you say pappuccino in English?
Taro.
Taro is English. Of course it is in English. English British viewers, please let me know if we can get taro in the UK, because when I come back, I'm going to want to eat it. Sichuan burger, that looks nice. I guess we'll congee. Congee's nice. I like congee. Isn't congee Korean?
I don't know. I didn't eat
congee. I believe congee is what I'm thinking of. I think Benson red bean boba tea. Okay, so places that weren't just McDonald's. Let's move on to the food then.
Yes.
How did you acclimatize to eating traditional Chinese food?
Every day. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. It is probably the best cuisine I've ever experienced in all my travels. It's so vast, and you can have an amazing meal for like 10 kwai, which is $1.50, US $1.50. So I didn't cook ever. So I just went out to eat all the time.
Fantastic.
And we had, I don't know, I ate everything. It's so good. And when we'd have a nice meal, it would be $5 and we'd eat like kings and queens, and it would just pig out. It's so good. I love their vegetables. Chinese fried vegetables are amazing. They fry them with the Sichuan red pepper. And it makes it like a really spicy, but like a numbing your mouth type of thing. It's really bizarre, but amazing. And Yeah, just these cute little restaurants on every corner, just kind of like in Ecuador, these mom and pop little shops, but they like hand make their dumplings, and they're out on the streets like folding their dumplings and making their dumplings every morning. And then we became friends with the people that had these little restaurants, and they were always so excited when we'd come in after work and eat. And yeah, oh,
So good, because I guess if it's so cheap to eat, and you said the pay was pretty good in China as well, then
mhm.
it combines quite nicely to eating a lot.
Well, I would actually pay more if I would to go buy my groceries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it pretty much it mainly because eating out probably isn't healthier for you, but I
Well,
definitely like cost wise, I felt like it was more to eat for an American who really didn't know how to cook their type of food. So if
uh-huh.
I wanted to buy anything that I knew how to cook, it definitely took my cost a lot higher. So I would go to the American supermarket or the international supermarket, the Carrefour, every couple weeks, though. Dumplings. Mm.
Did you miss American food at all? Were you there when
Yeah,
you missed?
yeah, we would definitely go, and there was a couple restaurants that we would go to that had some pretty good Western food. So we would go there every couple weeks or so.
So that hit the cravings. So you just got the
Yeah.
cravings for American food, sort them out. Because that's
Hmm.
actually one thing I've mentioned before on this podcast. One thing I miss a lot living in Puyo, where I do, there isn't British food here. And I know
Yeah.
most people around the world, knowing the British food stereotype, would say that's a good thing, but it's not. British food is
Are you missing home? Mm-mm.
yeah, I am. Oh, this food looks so good. So you
Yeah.
say you cooked out a lot, but did you go home when you went back to America with any recipes? Anything that you can cook that's Chinesey?
I actually just started cooking tofu skins.
Uh-huh.
Um, I actually bought some when I went to Chinatown in Vancouver, Canada, and I froze them and I never ate them. And so now we're cleaning out our fridge, and my husband pulls it out and says, "Why would you cook these?" I'm like, "I don't know. So let's cook them." And they're so
Yeah.
good. So I started doing that. Not really though. I just mainly I would definitely binge on doing it. My husband doesn't thinks it's weird. So
Yeah.
he
So
doesn't he's not a fan of it. So I
yeah.
don't. But
So
we
for
try
those
to go to the Thai restaurant here every couple of weeks when and that has pretty good food. It's very comparable.
yeah. So for those watching, Amanda's husband is Kichwa. He's Native American Indian, and they have their cooking style, what they like. And I don't want to say Javier is exactly the same as Jimena and Jimena's family, but they're sometimes not quite as exotic
Flavorful.
with their food,
Yeah,
adventurous with their food is probably
that's very true.
a diplomatic way of saying it. Well, Jimena's got a lot better now. To be fair, if she watches this, which she won't, but if she watches this, no, she won't watch it. I can tell what I like. But if she watches this, she'll tell me off because she's got a lot better now. She really likes trying stuff. But to start off with, there was no way. If it wasn't rice, didn't count. It's not food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Javier's not so much of a fan.
It's more like, yeah, the same type of idea. Like he has gotten a lot better, but I'd feel like he eats American food, he'll eat Mexican food, lots of different foods, but the
Yeah.
Asian food, he's just not ready to cross that bridge. When we go to
One
the
step
Thai
at a time.
restaurant, he has Thai fried rice, which is rice,
Rice,
fried
of course, it's rice, but at least it's Thai.
rice. Yeah,
Baby steps, one step at a time. Because I know
yeah.
after being in America for a year, when he came back, he was not impressed with the food at all, was he?
No, it took him quite a while. Now we moved to an area with highly Hispanic population, so we have a large like we go and eat street tacos often, and those are really good, and he really likes those.
Fantastic, nice. Okay, and because obviously Chinese food or traditional Chinese food has a reputation for being a bit weird and eating insects. Is that true, or is that just a lazy stereotype?
There is, you can totally eat that. I didn't. There was at my favorite restaurant that we went to, they did have a plate of flying cockroaches to eat.
Ooh.
I never ordered it.
Never. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yes, that's very normal to see on the you would see in Beijing, in Hong Kong, is the weird food on a stick. In Xiamen, there was some weird food on a stick.
Oh, look.
But
Starfish. Who eats starfish?
good question.
Like, I would eat most things. Like, in fact, this looks a bit like chantakura. Did you eat chantakura when you're in Puyo? You must have done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I have some in my fridge.
Yeah, well, I know you've ordered it to America. So
I ordered it from Thailand.
yeah, that's it. Chantakura. So again, for the people watching this is chantakura. This is something that's Ecuadorian, very Ecuadorian. So these are beetle larvae. And they're really, really nice. So you'll eat this no problem. But you didn't want to go near the Chinese sort of cockroach.
Yeah, I did get food poisoning from a street market, so I was quite timid towards that one.
Oh, I understand that. I probably wouldn't eat cockroaches either. Although if I eat cockroaches, now I'm living in a wooden house, that would save me a lot of money. I could just never have to go shopping, just go pick the cockroaches up from the ceiling.
Not my thing. I love the veggies. That's my thing. The Chinese veggies.
Veggies and the McDonald's. Oh, that's nice.
I didn't really go to the McDonald's that much. That was just the 3 a.m. things to do. It was that or the barbecued street food.
Oh man, I wish so. I haven't eaten yet tonight, and every time we talk about food, it's making me even more and more hungry. So maybe let's talk about a different. Let's talk about a different thing. Also,
okay.
I'm getting more and more sad because we're looking at this delicious food. Even chantacuras look appetizing right now. I know in my fridge I haven't got much food, so it's going to be soup or rice today. Arroz con huevo. Okay, how did you feel as a foreigner living in China? Did you feel, stop sharing. Did you feel?
Yeah, that was different. That was very different. It was a really hard adjustment, and I won't lie about that. The first month was really, really, really hard. I went through some serious culture shock. My apartment, they started construction on my apartment in the first month I was there. And logically, they were changing the whole siding of our apartment building, and they had to break the tiles off of the building to put new ones on. I don't know. And then we had bars on our windows, and the logical thing to do was to use a blowtorch to melt the metal off the bars.
Yeah, that's a different world there.
And that started my washing machine on fire.
Oh, really?
Within 3 weeks of me living there. And I thought I lost everything. Luckily, the construction workers broke into our house and put it out. Well,
to be fair, that's good. I mean,
that's good. But they would start construction at like 5 a.m, and they would be napping on the streets by 8. So that was really hard for me to adjust, like culture shock with jet lag and not being able to sleep and then not feeling comfortable in my apartment. That was really difficult. But after I kind of...
Did you consider moving home? Did you consider going?
Oh yeah, yes. I had looked at flights. I considered moving home, and but my boss moved me into a new house the next day. So that was good, and I had tons of support from my coworkers, and that was huge. So the biggest thing that I say that really helped support me in China was having that Western school. I will say that 1,000 times over, because if I would have gone to any other school, no way. I've talked to other people who have hated living in China because they were the only foreigner there and they just felt so isolated. So that was really helpful. Living in China, like I loved it. I loved the traveling. I loved experiencing new different things, but I'm white. And not to put that out there, but in these places in China where they don't experience tourism, they are shocked when they see a white person, and they were called Lawai, and or they would just stare. And I would have people take pictures of me as I'm walking down the street. I would have people stop and ask to take a picture with me.
Oh, like a celebrity, like a local
Yes,
celebrity.
the best. This was my favorite one. I was in China for about 6 weeks or so, and I went to Beijing for National Week. And me and my friend, she's from Minnesota, where I'm from. We different schools. We just happened to be vacation the same place, the same time, so we met up for a day.
Yeah.
We were at the Temple of Heaven, I think it was, and we were taking a picture. And so my friend's sister was taking our picture, and this Chinese lady lost her shit. She went ballistic. She drops her purse. She's so excited. She sees white people, drops her purse, takes a running at us, and trips over her purse, and then gets up and then proceeds to like take selfies with us.
Crazy.
It was insane. I'm like, I'm not famous. I'm nothing famous, but that was like very culture shock. Like, dude, I just am trying to enjoy my vacation.
Yeah, and I'm not going.
Fun. It was fun, but it was very like, what?
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. I would have milked that for
Oh, we did sometimes, but sometimes you were not feeling it. But that was the funniest moment. She just completely lost her mind and was so excited. She dropped her purse and tripped on it. And
just to get a picture of the two white girls. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, you should have charged her $5 per picture.
So I definitely have lots of fun pictures of just with random people. But it was, China has so much to offer. They really do. The culture shock was definitely there, but if you're in the right area, you have so much to see and so much to do. And yes, that's where it was the Temple of Heaven. And yeah, it was just awesome. I loved every moment of it.
Yeah, apart from the first week.
Yeah, apart from those, I had the first couple times. After that, everything was great.
I had going back to people taking pictures. I had someone, I guess it was just before lockdown, so a year ago. I was in a teachers conference, and there was an Ecuadorian at the end of it. He said, "This is going to sound really weird, but I've been watching you this weekend. Can I have a picture with you? Because you look just like Paul McCartney from the Beatles." Like, do I?
Like,
or I do. Yeah, but yeah, and he's yeah, honestly, just like him. Obviously, a young version. I was like, whatever you say, man. I'll have a picture. I'll have a picture with you. Absolutely loved that attention. Yeah. So, but did you feel? So obviously, they thought you were a tourist attraction in yourself, the white girl. But did you ever feel unsafe because of that?
No.
No.
Nope. I felt China. I felt so safe in China. Honestly, I felt so safe. There was really.
Oh no, I think we've lost. I'm gonna pause this recording. Okay, we lost internet for a second there, so I'll ask the question again. I might edit that part out of the video, but almost definitely I won't. Okay, so I just asked you before we lost internet, did you ever feel unsafe in China?
No, I really didn't. The amount of safety levels put in China, and China really protects their foreigners. Really protects their foreigners. If you mess with a foreigner, you're in deep shit. So, no, I never at any point felt unsafe. I walked home quite often in the middle of the night.
After a few sakis as well.
Huh?
And quite often after a few beers as well.
Yeah, Pijao. And but no, I never felt unsafe. I felt like I don't recall any time ever feeling unsafe. It was really, yeah, I just, all the apartment complexes are guarded. Every single one is guarded. They always have some sort of job for anybody. So there's always someone doing something. And that was just really, really nice. I honestly am, and I think if you were to interview any other person, they would probably say very similar things as well. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time in Shanghai, which is definitely a different situation. But where I was at, I felt very safe. And where I traveled and what I did, I traveled into very rural China for a couple days on our own without tour guides and stuff. And it was great.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I've never heard anyone say anything bad about China who's lived there. I know a few people have gone and they've all really liked it. A couple have stayed as well. I'll try and get them on later. Okay, so you obviously worked in an international school. Did you hang out more with internationals or with Chinese nationals?
So our school was a 50-50. So all their teachers were English speaking, but then every teacher was assigned a TA, and that TA was Chinese. And so it was a really good balance. Like, I got to have my Western friends, but I got to meet and hang out with a lot of Chinese friends too that were my TAs, and they're awesome. And I still keep in touch with a lot of them. One of them, even her son was born the same day as Audrey. So they share birthdays.
Wow, so yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it's really, I get together and have birthday time sometime, but it was really, I still keep in contact with a couple, some of my really close Chinese friends, as well. So that was really cool.
Really good. And so I guess you communicated with your friends in English.
Yes. Now, they did teach me Chinese. I did we did like called language exchanges, I think is what we called them. And they taught me Chinese and I taught them English. And we did that and we just worked on that. But I didn't develop as much Chinese as I would have liked to. I did develop quite a lot. I could have a very basic conversation by the end of the year. But it was enough to communicate with my private students, parents, and things like that I spoke no English. So that was good. It was enough to say, like, no, I'm not coming to work next week. My mom is coming. I could say stuff like that, but I couldn't have a full-on meaningful conversation in Chinese at that point.
Yeah, so you couldn't do this podcast in Chinese then?
Definitely not. No.
Spanish, yes. English, yes. French, probably yes as well. Oh, you're a French teacher, so French, yes. So trilingual. Quechua, how are you with Quechua?
I can understand it.
Chowpy chowpy.
Chowpy chowpy. Yeah, I can understand. I can't speak very much, but I can understand.
Yeah, nice. I don't.
So I'm learning more as Javier's finally teaching Audrey her Quechua.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you that. That's really important. How are you doing it? Because presumably you're going to want Audrey to speak Quechua, Spanish, and English. I mean, there's only two of you. So is Javier doing Quechua?
He's doing mostly Quechua. And we do English and Spanish kind of mixed in the house. She's doing it though. I called her the other day. Well, I would call twice a day, but I talked to her and she grabs the phone, says, and she just all of a sudden started doing sentences last week. I'm like, oh, dang, you should do it when she goes on vacation. She spoke an sentence in English, then Quechua, then Spanish. I mean, boom, boom, boom. It was insane.
Brilliant.
I was like, what?
I've just realized she's not a baby anymore, is she? Because the last time I saw her, she was a baby.
She's 2.
I know. Because I haven't seen her for a year and a half. I forgot that babies tend to grow.
Yes, they do.
Fantastic. So she'll be trilingual from birth. That'll be amazing. That'll be
yes.
Okay, fantastic. So let's go back to China. So when you went out with your Chinese friends, what was a typical night out?
KTVs, they're so fun.
What are KTVs?
We always went to KTVs. We'd go to bars and clubs too, but that was boring. KTVs are karaoke bars.
Bars.
But you rent your own private room. and all your friends, and you bring all your alcohol and your snacks to your private room. They've got like nice and fancy couches, and you all just chill out and sing karaoke for hours.
Fantastic. Yeah, so the guy Ben, who was our first guest, he was in Korea and he said he loved them as well. They were called, I just looked it up, Noraebang, they were called in Korea. So KTVs in China.
ATV.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was would that always be drunk or would you do that sober?
Well, you go in sober. You don't come out. I guess I do know somebody that went. It was really funny. I had somebody, they were on our teacher team with us and they didn't know what KTV was. They're like, oh, we heard so much about KTV. So they went to the KTV at 3 p.m. and there was just two of them and they rented their room. They're like, this is really weird.
Imagine doing karaoke with two people, just sort of.
Yeah, they came back and they said, why do you guys like this? We're like, well, we go with 20 people and we go at 9 p.m. with the alcohol, not at 3 p.m. with two people.
Romantic evening is singing to each other. And especially if one of you can't sing, that's going to be really awkward.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't probably do that sober, but it was very, very fun. And that was a great fun opportunity. Like, all of the English speakers came and the Chinese, and then we would sing Chinese songs and English songs, and yeah.
Fantastic. And that must be a great bonding thing as well, because that must be a really good thing. Especially, was there any? What about someone who couldn't sing? Someone who had the voice of a.
Nobody cared.
Okay, that was all fine.
Cared.
Yeah. It's kind of because karaoke more or less was popular. Is popular here. There are karaoke bars here. But I don't know, it's not as much as there.
No, I mean, everybody's in the room and you're all chatting and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, this is my song, give me the microphone. And then you'd sing and then you'd pass it off to the next person. And
So that was that every time?
It was quite often.
And what about the drinking culture? I guess I'm asking more about the Chinese nationals. Did they used to drink? Or do they drink like crazy binge drinking, or was it just they were happy having one or two, or?
Both.
Okay, so nothing to.
I mean, the same thing here. Like, like same thing with the English speakers. We drink or one or two. Or
depends on what you're
depends on what you're drinking. Depends on your situation, which having fun. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So no special drinking culture there, because the drinking culture with Ecuador and England.
Oh. Well, okay. No, now you say, well, they love to, what's the word for it? To cheers. And when you cheers, everyone gets the little shot glasses of beer. And you pour them around and then you cheers. And yeah, those can go crazy. Oh, God, what did we say? I can't. Qingda. I'm lost my Chinese. But we would, or we would like, again, the whole America white famous thing. And we would go to a restaurant and we'd be our table of Americans, or we had English people too, and Australians. So I guess not, but white people next to this bubbly group of Chinese, probably older men. They were like 60 or so. And they'd be like, woohoo, the white people are here. And then they'd come over and they'd cheers us, or they'd buy us a plate of food, and and then it would just go crazy. So they're very social with the drinking though. So if you cheers, you have to drink it, kind of like the chicha. Like if you get it, you have to drink it.
Yeah, it's really rude if you don't. Yeah, so I'm noticing everyone I speak to. So I spoke to Darren a couple of weeks ago from Vietnam, from Korea. Everyone seems to be a lot more social drinkers and social and friendly than the English. So everyone's saying, oh no, everyone's really nice. I think us British people might be really rude and might be really set up, because the whole world seemed to be, everyone says the whole world is really friendly in comparison to the British. I'm all right. I'm not rude.
No.
But yeah, because I think Ecuador, I've noticed they're very social drinking. In Vietnam, apparently they're very social. In Korea, and now you're saying in China, everywhere but the Britain. Anyway. Okay, what about a typical day out? If you had like a Saturday, if you're going out with some Chinese friends, for example, and it wasn't focusing on drinking. Wait. Sorry, my cat is. And it's something that's not focusing on drinking. What would a typical day out be in?
So we would go to South Park often. We would go and spend the time at the park. There's this beautiful park outside town that was beautiful. We had a hike around, and then there was a wild monkey, baboon that lived there. And he was awesome. And so we would do that, or we go up north to the north side where we hike a mountain. They would honestly take us out to go and do fun things in other places around town. And I mean, the city was huge. So there was lots of places that still I never even got to go to, even though I lived there a whole year. So, or we go to Xiamen for the weekend or something like that and take some friends with. But my Chinese friends would be super awesome with going there and hanging out. We would bring food and have a barbecue at the park. Or we'd go out to restaurants and they would bring us to different restaurants and make us try different foods and things. And yeah.
Sounds like what a great experience that was.
Yeah.
So how come you decided to move back? Because China sounds brilliant. Were you tempted to stay there?
China was brilliant. I would love to go back. And I would love to go teach there again. Biggest reason was Javier. I had met Javier before I went to China.
Oh yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, how did you meet Javier? Because I remember you told me. I don't remember though.
So I actually, in my depression of being in college and not wanting to be in school, I had first applied to doing, because at this point I had thought I was going to school for another whole year. So I was like, I can't stay here all summer long. I just want to go crazy. So I applied for a scholarship to volunteer abroad, and I actually got the scholarship. So I got $2,000, and I was like, I'm going to pick the cheapest place that I can go to. And that was Ecuador. So
is it that? It's not that cheap. Like surely Colombia or Peru or Bolivia would have been cheaper.
Not for a volunteer program. Well, what I could find. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a pretty cheap volunteer program. So I went there, and my program sent me to Chihuacocha in Ecuador, and that's where I met Javier. And I was only there for 2 months. But within the first week we were already dating. And so at that point, after the 2 months, I was kind of like, well, I have already signed my contract with China at that point. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And he told me to go and just come back. So that's what I did.
Oh, nice. Well, it's worked out well. It's worked out very well.
It has worked out well. A lot of people thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
People, everybody thought I was nuts.
Even knowing it worked out well, I still think, oh, really?
Yeah, right.
Hang on 1 second. Okay, another seamless transition there of pausing the recording and coming back. Okay, so how was your Chinese? I know you said you could speak basic Chinese, but did you learn any slang words? Any particularly interesting slang words from China in Chinese?
Yes. Don't ask me to recall them though.
Oh, okay. So the next question was going to be any that you still use in today's language.
No, not really. Lao Wai was the big one. I went Lao Wai. Or Wiggle Wen, which was it's foreigner basically.
Wiggle Wen.
Wiggle Wen.
Wiggle Wen.
Wiggle Ren.
Wiggle Ren. Wiggle Ren, that's foreigner. Nice.
Yeah. Well, sure. Wiggle Ren. That's like, yeah, I am a foreigner.
So
I knew how to say like my address. Like that was my thing to say when you get the card. You'd be like, Nisha Nali, and I'm like, well, wo yao chu mei hai yuan, and I'd say like, okay, I can at least get my address in. My biggest Chinese accomplishment, which I can still do today, is I can read a Chinese menu.
Can you?
Yes, I can.
In Chinese.
Yes, and I learned to read a Chinese menu in Chinese in a week.
That's amazing.
It's really easy.
Can I test you on that?
Sure.
I don't. Let's call you out. That's fine.
Basic, right? I mean, a basic one, obviously, but I can tell
basic
you.
Chinese menu. Let me find one of these, and I'll share the screen. There it is. This is one in Chinese. Share screen. Can we make that bigger? I'm always nervous.
Make that bigger.
Let's zoom in. That hasn't really zoomed in all that well, has it?
I'm not going to be able to read that. That's just too small. Let me get my glasses.
That is too small. I'll trust you on that one then. But that's incredible. How you say so? I guess you just learn the. No, how do you go about how to read a Chinese?
There is an app called Memrise. MEM.
I've heard of Memrise.
Yeah. And that there is an amazing and incredible set of flashcards on there that teaches you how to read a menu. And what it does is it takes the picture, because the characters are based off of old ancient pictures. Like the fish, it's really interesting. The fish nowadays is a box with, I believe, a line through it, and then it's got a little lip on the front. And I could go on and on about this, but it's really cool because that's the simplified character, which is in China. Now, if you go to Hong Kong or Taiwan, you're going to get traditional characters. So if you go to Taiwan, that fish character all of a sudden now has lines underneath it. Yes. So that one in the middle there with the line under the straight line, that's the simplified character for you. And then the old ancient character is the one on the left. See how that's supposed to symbolize the fin.
What, these bits?
Yes, that's like the bottom fin. Like this is the lips at the top.
Yeah.
And then that's the body. But see, you couldn't tell with the simplified one, but if you can look at the old one, you can see.
I guess you can.
Yeah,
you can.
Now the very bottom right, that's horse.
Which one? Here.
So go straight over. So see, this is like they're showing the transformation of the characters from a drawing. So that top one is horse.
Oh, wow. So it's gone, so that's a horse and it's gone from this. So is that what horse is now? This one here?
No. So horse is the ending top right.
That one. Yeah.
The next one's fish. I can't remember what that bottom one is. I've seen it though, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, what does that look like? Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't look so much like a horse anymore, does it?
No, but it was really cool that they would, transform the app is really cool because it would take the character and transform it to a picture and then shift it back so you could see that, and that image stays in your mind. So that when I would go to a restaurant, I could say, okay, well, I know that this is beef and I know that this is sour. So it's sour, and I know this is spicy. So sour, spicy beef. Things like that. So that's beef. That is supposed to be like there, it's the front head of a cow, and it's supposed to be its ear tag on the front.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. No, I can't
take
see
your word for that one.
But I can tell you that's beef.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
There you go. There's the transformation. Scroll down just a little bit. Right there. There's the up one more. There. That's the transformation. It's harder to see.
Yeah.
And then scrolling down, that one that looks like a rib cage, that is meat.
Yeah.
So if you have, it's cow meat.
Cow meat.
And then you would just change the animal in front. That would tell you what kind of meat it is.
Nice. So horse meat, obviously you probably wouldn't eat horse meat, but would be the symbol we saw before. Nice. Oh, Chinese all of a sudden doesn't sound so scary.
It's not. It's really not. Like the menu, when I could learn to read it in a week, it was crazy. Now I could tell you a fun story. Do you want to hear?
Of course, I want to hear a fun story.
So, fun story. I was traveling with my friend outside of our area. We went to a little smaller village, and I had learned to read a menu at this point, and my friend had not. And she was like, I'm just going to pick something off this menu. I'm like, go for it. I could help you, though, find something if you would like. No, I'm going to take this. This looks good. She points to something on the menu. My friend is a vegan, by the way.
Oh, that's a risk. That's a risk. She didn't need.
That is a risk. Well, guess what she got?
Well, I'm presuming not vegan.
She got pig heart soup.
Oh.
So she gets her and she's like, what is this? And she's looking at her and said, well, like, I would have told you, but you didn't want to know. But that was pig, that was heart, and that was soup. Together, that would not be.
That would be the last thing I'd order. But she bought that on herself a little bit, didn't she?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was very something similar to that.
Like, even if, because I'm not a vegan, but even if I wasn't a vegan,
that's not something I would have picked out on my menu.
Oh, yeah, I would. Did she eat it? Is that a stupid question?
Oh, no, she did not eat it. She was so upset. I'm like, well, at that point.
Well, at that point, the pig's already dead and it's already been made. So if you don't eat it, it's just going to be thrown away. So you may as well.
That pig heart soup, I
don't think I would have eaten it myself. So.
I think,
no. Oh, well. God, that's a shock for him.
Yeah.
I remember when I was new or first going out with Jimena, I went around her house and they gave me some soup and it was chicken. You know how they're chickeny stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, I have to say. Anyway, they gave me this soup and there was a bit of weird looking meat in it. And I sort of picked it up and I said, oh, what's this? And I managed to communicate it was the chicken's heart. And I thought, oh, that's embarrassing for them. They've accidentally left the heart in there. I'll pretend I didn't notice. So I just fed it to the cat. I thought I won't make a big deal of it. And I gave it to the cat. I was like, what are you doing? We gave you that because you're the guest. That's the best bit. I was like, we don't eat heart. That's not for humans, is it? So.
That's like how Javier was my first time. We were only dating 2 days at this point, 3 days, and he gave me maito with the fish heads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I nicely cut the head off and I put it back on the platter. And at the end, he goes, "Are you gonna eat that?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, I'm taking it."
Yeah, like they reckon the fish head is the nicest bit. What about now? So you've been going out with Javier for however many years now, married. Would you eat the fish head now, or do you gently give it to him every time?
I gently give it to him every time. My family is really nice. They'll make my maito and they'll cut the heads off and make my maito without head. And then they'll make a whole maito with just heads so that they can have extra heads. And I'm like, you have at it. That is your thing, not mine.
Absolutely. No, I can't understand a fish head. And like my niece, she loves the eye. She'll watch. Yeah. Or like she'll gouge the eye out and then she'll eat it and suck the juice out of the eye juice. Spit out of her. That's so weird. And then they have the gall to say, when I make gravy from the juice from the meat that comes off, I make gravy. They say, oh, that's so weird. I'm not eating that. Like, what? You eat fish eyes and chicken heart and you won't eat gravy. So yeah, this is my dough for the people watching at home. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be interesting for anyone apart from you, but do you remember where we went to Paziaku and we camped? They make the best maito there I've ever had.
Oh.
Yeah, so next time when you come in July, we'll go back there and we'll have some maito there. Okay, so the final thing, what I always ask the guests on this is this. We're trying to make a perfect country. Okay, so a foreigner abroad, perfect country. So we're imagining that everyone can pick one tourist spot, one cultural norm, and one person to banish from our perfect country. So from China, what tourist spot would you put into our perfect country? So far we've got Jeonju Village, Bergen Waterfront, and Halong Bay. What would you like to add to that?
Okay, so it would be a toss up between two, but so I can tell you my first one, but I'm gonna not lean towards it only because it's very close to Halong Bay and it's very similar. So you can look up Guilin, Guilin.
Oh, I know Grillin. This is nice. I've seen
It's beautiful, but it's Halong Bay above Earth.
Ah, yeah. That's beautiful.
Halong Bay is, with water, and this is basically Halong Bay above Earth.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. I loved going down this river. It was just beautiful.
That's a strong candidate to not make it in.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with Sanqing Shan. So San, S-A-N, space, Sanqing Shan, Xing, space, Shan, S-H-A-N.
Sanqing Shan. I don't think I know this.
No, it's not as popular.
No.
No, okay, no, maybe I spelled it wrong. Sanqing Shan. Okay, try C-H-I-N-G. Maybe I spelled it wrong.
For this one here.
Instead of the X, yeah. No. God, what is it?
Let's have a look on the map. You can probably remember where it is on the map, and we'll find it on the map.
You won't find it. Let me look up what it was. It's very similar to Yellow Mountain, but it's less touristy and more magical. Let me see if I can find. I wonder if it's written right here. Nope, it's on my Facebook beginning page of my Facebook, but I don't have the title of it there.
Oh, this one, Sanqing.
Yes, that's it. It's Q. That was a Sanqing Shan. Sanqing Shan. I think I was right. Sanqing Shan.
Ah, nice. So this is kind of similar to that really famous place in China where they filmed Avatar.
Yellow Mountain.
Oh, that's Yellow Mountain. Is that Yellow Mountain? Sanqing Chang is brilliant. I just want to see Yellow Mountain.
Yellow Mountain is the really famous mountain, very similar to this, but super touristy.
Uh-huh.
It's right outside Shanghai.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of, by the way. But let's go back to this one. That's Sanqing Shan. Fantastic.
This one we went to, and there's cable cars down. I think it was below there, and you take these cable cars to the top of the mountain, and you spend the night in a hotel on the top of the mountain.
Oh.
And then you hiked around that, and it was just gorgeous. And I just loved. There you go. This is the Serpent.
Oh, this one.
The Serpent rock formation.
Nice. Flotantes to Avatar. Oh, so they did do Avatar here as well.
Yeah.
So for people that don't speak Spanish, the sacred floating mountains of Avatar exist in reality, is what that says there. Nice. Fantastic. So which one of these would you like to add in?
You don't have very many great pictures.
Some pictures don't often do it justice, do they?
No.
I mean, it is amazing.
It's gorgeous.
A nice one. This one's quite nice.
That one's very nice.
Shame it says enemy stock photo on. Anyway, I'll put this one in as a placeholder, and I will find a
we'll find one.
Okay, so foreigner abroad. I've already forgotten how you spell it now.
Sanqing Shan.
Okay, very strong tourist spot. I will find a better picture than that. Okay, what about a cultural norm? So we've got karaoke booths are already there because it sounds like you would have been a fan for that one. We got them from Korea. From Norway, we've got prioritizing being closer to nature. From Vietnam, we've got sharing everything. What sort of cultural norm, what did the people do that you thought, oh, this is really nice. I wish they'd do this in.
Cultural sharing of eating. So in China, they you sit around a table and you have a massive turntable. And you go to these restaurants and you order tons of food. So you don't order like your plate, right? You order tons of food and everybody and they just put them on the turntable and you just spin the turntable, and you just grab food off the middle. So it's kind of like a buffet, but you're not going anywhere, and you just spin the turntable.
But without having to walk.
Yes, but it's everybody is just, you're all in agreement of like, you know, like you just order all these things and you just try so many things, and it's really cheap and it's awesome.
Sounds like a really cool thing to do. Kind of like the Chinese version of tapas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Pretty cool. That's a really cool thing. And finally, banished people. Who are you going to ban to come from this perfect country?
I have no idea.
No,
I legitimately don't know.
There must be some people that you're not a fan of. Let's staying away from politics, of course. Like literally no one you can think of that you're not a fan of.
Legitimately, no. I really just let people live their lives.
No sporting people that you don't like.
I'll do sports.
So everyone's welcome in that case. Well, okay, fair enough.
I'm sorry, but I'm really bad at
that. You're too happy. You're too nice. If you think of anyone you don't like, let me know and I'll add it in before the next time.
I name my students, my lazy students.
The lazy students. There we go. I'll put that in then.
The lazy students.
Lazy students. We won't name them because that probably might get you in trouble.
No, we won't name them. We'll just
say name and shame them, but just lazy students. Yeah,
just in general, lazy students not allowed. That would be.
I would agree with that. We are at the moment, we're just finishing the semester here, and I'm getting so many messages saying, "Teacher, help me pass."
Yep, I got that message today.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating. So if you'd tried really hard and you'd failed, it might be a bit different. It might be like, okay, fine, maybe. But if you've not done anything, don't put the responsibility onto me for you not passing. No, you haven't done anything all year. Anyway, we could talk for another.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yes, we could easily talk for another hour on that. And maybe that'll be another episode. So thank you so much. That was really, really good.
You're welcome.
That was great talking about China. I thought we didn't even get on to living in the jungle and living with Kichuras and becoming native.
No.
Again, as you said, that's another episode as well. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording now. Let's just find record. Okay.